Hi, and welcome back to the WHVP podcast. On this episode of the podcast, Managing Partner Jamie Vrijhof-Droese sits down with Sina Meier of 21 Shares to discuss all things crypto. In this episode, Jamie will talk with Sina about the path that led her to working in cryptocurrency and options for investors when looking to invest in cryptocurrency. Now, let's get into it.
Hello and welcome. I'm so excited to introduce to you our guest of today's podcast episode. It is Sina from 21 Shares, and she's going to talk all things crypto. I'm very excited to learn from her expertise and experience in the topic. And well, Sina, the floor is all yours. How about we start with you telling us a little bit about who you are and how you ended up at where you're currently at?
Sure. Thank you so much, Jamie, for having me with you. I'm super excited to have a little conversation with you today. And thank you for listening for the audience people. Like Jamie announced, my name is Sina. I'm a Swiss and I started my career, of course, in finance. So I have a background of almost 30 years in finance. And I have been in private banking with clients. So I understand quite well the mindset of people like wanting to invest. And Jamie, to be very honest with you, I did not plan to be into crypto because about 3 years ago, I had a conversation like I was like, okay, after so many years in finance, maybe I should do something a little bit different, connected to finance. And she was like, oh, I have a really great company for you, which is Swiss. And they would perfectly fit with your personality and it's still going into finance and so on. And I was asking what they're doing. And she told me they're dealing with crypto assets. And I was like, no, that's not for me. That's not serious. So to be very honest with you, I'm here now for 2.5 years in this company, which is a Swiss company, like I mentioned, but I was not planning to be in the crypto or the digital asset industry. It's completely, I don't know how you call it, if it's luck or if it's bad luck or if it's just like destiny, no idea.
Well, so what made you change your mind in the end? What convinced you about the company or the crypto world that you thought you want to give it a go?
Yeah, good question. So I was checking because the products of 21 Shares, at that time, the company was called, by the way, Amun, which is the god of God from the Egyptians, because one of our co-founder is Egyptian. So the name was named after a god from Egyptians. When I saw that they have products listed at different exchanges, I would say like exchanges from normal traditional finance, I was going to one of their events, to the bell ringing for the product, and I checked them out to see like how professional they are. And I was really mind blown how they were professional, the great setup and so on. And I really liked the people and the product behind. And I thought like, you know what, Jamie, no risk, no fun. Let's do it.
Well, it seems like it was the right decision for you. So way to go. Maybe that's a very good transition to talk a little bit more about 21 Shares and taking a step back and introducing our audience to what exactly it is that you do, because the crypto world has evolved a lot over the past couple of years and is now quite a large industry with a variety of topics and products offered. So maybe we can talk a bit about what you do and what sets you apart, and maybe also why the company decided to get started in Switzerland when you say that one of the co-founders is Egyptian.
Yeah, that's my favorite story, which I would tell you. It's a true story. So 21 Shares is a Swiss company. We are based in Zurich. And the way actually how this company was created in 2018, so it's quite a while back already. And it was like our two co-founders, Henny Rashwan and Ophelia Schneider, they both wanted a solution. They wanted to invest in meaningful investments into digital assets, like first like Bitcoin and Ethereum or something like that. And they was checking around the world what is existing. And they figured there are some solutions, kind of products, applications, and so on, but they were just not happy what existed because some of them were super expensive, some of them were not regulated. And then they have their own family offices, so they didn't want to send the money, whatever, just like something like you're not really sure where the money is. So they were thinking, we want to invest into digital assets. If we have this kind of problem or this kind of searching around, then probably other investors would have the same problem, right? So they decided to set up a new company, and they launched in 2018 the world first crypto basket ETP. And Jamie, ETP, maybe to explain it very simple, an ETP is an exchange traded product, which is in terms of regulation very similar to an ETF. So it's a product you can buy at the stock exchange, a traditional one, and you have it inside of your existing portfolio. You don't need to send the money to an app or send the money out or to us, whatever. It will stay inside of your portfolio. And the aim is actually from the way how we see ourselves is like we are the bridge between the very new world and the old world, and we help the people who would like to have an exposure to this kind of asset class, if I may already tell it like that, to have a very easy, regulated, and also a great solution where they can choose whatever they want. And the first, like I said, the first ETP was called HODL, HODL. And Jamie, do you know what HODL means actually?
I'm not sure. No, I know there's some sort of story behind, but I'm not deep into enough for it to know what I mean.
That's a crypto language, and people should maybe, some of you might probably know, HODL is buy and hold. So someone apparently, I think it was in 2015, 2016, someone wanted to say in a chat like Reddit or I don't know what, no, don't sell, HODL, HODL, HODL. So buy and hold. And it gets in the crypto industry, we call it like HODL, so buy and hold. That's why our first crypto basket was called after this HODL story, you know.
So if people are I think a lot of our listeners are somewhat familiar with crypto investments and are somewhat interested in it. And what's one of the benefits in investing into a product compared to having direct investments into those currencies?
Yeah, first, maybe I have to say, we have nothing against investing directly into crypto, because the aim about 11 or 12 years ago now, it was that it's from peer to peer, so from one person to the other, that there is no middleman. But the reality is, like, you know, Jamie, you and I, it's quite difficult sometimes. The technical things, you don't have the power anymore too much about where the money is and so on. So it's a little bit scary because it's really a new industry. The advantage by investing through an exchange traded product like we have is like, it's just mixing very perfectly with your portfolio, right? You can have, like, you have Apple stores, you have Apple shares, Tesla shares, or UBS, or whatever you want, which company inside of your portfolio. You decide to do an exposure to digital assets, so you can buy this product with the ISIN number and keep it inside of your existing portfolio. That's a big advantage in kind of, you don't need to hold your private keys if someone knows what it is, because if you're into crypto, you have kind of a very long number, and then you have a private key which you hold for yourself. I say it is now technically very easy, it's much more complicated, and you don't have to take care after that. You don't have to download the wallet or something. You really can just buy it as easy as buying a stock. That's the advantage during investing directly.
So if someone is interested in purchasing some kind of product or adding it to the portfolio, how can I best go about the research? So what do you think, where should they get started in investigating, like what is out there, what best suits their personal situation, their needs? How can they find the right information for them?
That's a very good point, research, because I always say to people, education is key. If you don't know what you're doing, just even don't touch it, right?
Yeah.
So we have a huge research team, which are at the moment about 7 people, and we will grow that steadily. And I think I would advise to people that you get really an idea what crypto really is, not maybe so much only about the technical thing, because this holds us mainly back sometimes, you know, right? But about what was the aim of this kind of cryptos? What is the added value of cryptos, right? What will be the trends? Where is the world going, right? Where is the financial system going, and so on? So I think I would kind of advise people to do a little bit their homework. Some of them deep dive, but some of them also just like on the surface to see really a little bit why this is going on, for what is it good, and where should we be? And there is different research all over the world. I mean, like we at 21 Shares have a really great newsletter, which is for free, so people can download that. But something what I also think has nothing to do with 21 Shares, there's a really great book from Andreas Antonopoulos. It's a Greek man who I think grew up in the US, if I'm not mistaken. And he's into crypto for a very long time and goes around the globe to explain. And he wrote a book actually, he created a book with all his kind of presentations he's holding around the world, which is called the Internet of Money, which is super interesting to have kind of a connection between where is this coming from, and compared, for example, to when in the old times there were still horses, right? And someone came and said, we have a car now. People were laughing. We have horses, we don't need a car, right? And it explains a little bit in this book in terms of technical, what happened in the past, and compared to this new crypto world, which I find is really great to have kind of an understanding of the evolution of the whole sector coming, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And if people want to get your newsletter, where can I sign up for it?
Yeah, it's for free, like I mentioned. It's on the homepage at 21shares.com. And I think it's in the bottom, like newsletter. They exist in German and they exist, of course, in English. And we will probably use them later in other languages.
Yeah, we'll make sure to link to that in the description of the podcast. So if people are interested in getting your research, they can have a look at that as well and sign up. I think one thing that you have briefly mentioned in one of your answers, and that's a very important point, especially for the listeners that we have, because as you know, a lot of them are based in North America, is the whole regulatory side of products. So investing into a product that is publicly traded, that has an ISIN number, that's a little different than the whole crypto market.
Totally.
So are those products currently available for Americans if they want to invest? If not, what's the future? In which direction are we going there?
So we are all our products there. We have a license, and of course in Switzerland, but also most of the countries in Europe. So that's not the problem. For the US, like you just mentioned, it's a different subject. Our products, the ones we have at the moment, are not yet available in the US. So it's a little tricky for that. And we are working on that because, of course, we want to be also on the US market. We have also, by the way, we have a cooperation with ARK Invest, with Kathy Woods. So we might one day, something might come out by 21 Shares, cooperation maybe with ARK Invest, we will see. But at the moment we are a lot, and I don't speak we as 21 Shares, I speak like about the whole crypto industry, because it's a very strong bound together and we are not against each other. We're really helping for speaking to the regulators in general to see, like, to explain to them what does it really mean for the whole setup at the moment. And we're in a very good relation with the regulators, and we really help them to get an idea and to see where are the holes and what can be done in the future. I mean, like, I'm not the legal person. I don't know sometimes in details what is the moment really the subject. I know some topics might be about taxes, might be about is this really an asset, or is this like treated like cash, or for the KYC, you know, they want to know the transactions which go through the blockchain, where you can really see what's going on because every transaction on the blockchain you can see, right? It's like an open Excel sheet where everybody can check that. So yeah. It needs also there for the regulators a very close cooperation and also education from both sides, you know, that we got towards each other.
Yeah, absolutely. Education is so key. And as you said earlier, I mean, you can only make sound decisions if you have all the pieces of the puzzle that you need and if you understand what you're doing. So, I mean, it's essential that the regulators understand what exactly they're regulating. But it's very exciting to see that you're venturing out to the US and that you might potentially have some investment opportunities for Americans down the road. Maybe that brings us back to something that we have very briefly touched upon earlier in our conversation, your location in Switzerland. I think, if I'm not mistaken, Switzerland is quite a popular place for startups and young companies that are in the crypto scene. Maybe you can talk a little bit about that. You've also mentioned that there's a close bond within the industry of like support and helping out. So why is Switzerland as a country so popular, and what makes it attractive for a company in the crypto business to get started here?
Yeah, sure. I mean, like, what is really important to know is Switzerland, I mean, it's a safe place, like we know. It is, we have a really big know-how in general about finance. We are well structured, government is stable. And we have this kind of very close cooperation between financial system, regulators, and all these kind of parties involved. Even politics, is they're quite involved into the Swiss crypto valley, we call it like that, which is a very close cooperation, because we have this Swiss uniqueness, if you want to say it like that. There's also a lot of trust, which is a good point about Switzerland in general, and a lot of expertise divided by all these kind of different subjects, what I just mentioned now. Like I said, regulation is one of the key subjects, and we are highly qualified in this kind of industry to cooperate together and have a good point here,
Yeah, I fully agree. I mean,
Switzerland is doing a really good job.
Yeah, the combination of the financial know-how, but also the spirit of innovation. I mean, that's a wonderful and explosive mix that's certainly very helpful in moving forward in financial innovation as well. So let me know, have we covered everything that you think is important? I was very impressed with everything that you have shared. I've had a lot of fun listening to you. Is there anything else we should talk about, or do you think we have covered the most important cornerstones?
I could just say, like, in general about the crypto industry, it's something like people should not be afraid of, because many, even women, for example, I include myself, we tend to say like, oh, this is not for me, I'm not a tech person, whatever. Seriously, it's a very young industry. Don't be afraid about it. Don't be afraid to speak with some people inside of the industry. Even us, I don't call myself like an expert, because for me, an expert is something who knows everything. It's a very fast driven industry, like very, very, and there is space for everybody. And reach out to the people, be open-minded, and you're always very free to reach out to me or to the company if you have any questions, because it's something we should not ignore, seriously. It's something I can give you also, again, a real story, Jamie. About 2 months ago, my colleague was looking to move houses, and she needed something from to see in the Swiss register if you have any debts, right? Mm-hmm. And then she was checking, and even this register was on the blockchain at Ethereum. And so even if you don't know that you're using it sometimes on a daily life, you're using the blockchain or sometimes some cryptos because it's hidden in the background. Even for example, NFTs, the non-fundable tokens, you might have something and you even don't know it's on the blockchain. So this is something I want to say, stay open. Yeah, stay open. Don't be afraid about it. And why not coming once to one of an event or a panel, whatever, where you might be even maybe the moderator, Jamie, because you're doing a really great job. And to see and to hear more about it, be open. Just something I think it's important for the people to keep in mind, I think, as an advice.
Yeah, absolutely. I love those final remarks. So if people would like to reach out to you, what's the best way to get in touch?
I mean, like, it depends if you want to follow, for example, just the company, what we're doing and the whole growth, because we became quite big. Just follow maybe 21 Shares on LinkedIn or on Twitter. Check once the webpage, but I think it's not too bad. And if you want to reach out to me, it's just Sina@21shares.com. I'm super happy to speak with you.
Wonderful. Again, we'll put all of that information into the show notes so you can have that easily accessible to you. Thank you so much, Sina, for your time today. It was wonderful. I'm sure our audience are going to enjoy this conversation as much as I did. And I hope you have a wonderful rest of the day.
Thank you very much, Jamie. Thank you much for having me with you. And I wish you all a super great day today. Thank you so much.
Thanks again for joining us on the WHVP podcast. We hope you found it enjoyable and insightful. If you would like to learn more about what we do at WHVP and how we might help you achieve your financial goals, check us out at our website at whvp.ch, or find us at any of our social media handles at LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, or YouTube by simply searching WHVP. Have a great rest of your week.